You know, Democrats never cease to amaze me. All the stuff that I've been seeing floating around today, um, all the updated postings from ICE on multiple counts of people from California and Chicago since like the beginning of September, arresting all these guys that have had almost every single one of them that I've seen with extensive records have 7, 8+ arrests, being let back out on the street, getting almost 20-year convictions, getting let back out on the street. And a lot of these guys are sex offenders, 14, 15-year-old girls and lower. One guy went as far as posing as a Uber driver in the city, pulled it up outside a nightclub, got a lady in his car, took her somewhere, beat the living hell out of her, raped her. Yeah. Let's take a look at a couple of them real quick. Why are we in the greater Chicago area? To arrest bad people and bad things. Exhibit A, illegal alien from Mexico arrested by Office of Field Operations Midway Blitz. In addition to 9 previous arrests, including felony and misdemeanor convictions, his most recent arrest made national news when on March 30th of 2025, he allegedly posed as a rideshare driver in Chicago and sexually assaulted a woman inside his vehicle after picking her up outside a local nightclub. He was charged with aggravated criminal sexual assault, aggravated kidnapping with bodily harm, and unlawful restraint. He was released from detention 2 days after his arrest. With a lengthy and violent criminal record dating back to 2002, why has he been living free as a bird in the Windy City? Because of Chicago's embrace of sanctuary policies which hurt rather than help residents. But no more. Operation Midway Blitz is here to rid Chicago of criminal illegal aliens like him. From Florida to Chicago, this Venezuelan fugitive thought switching states would make his legal troubles go away. It didn't. Full extraditable warrant from Florida. No problem. He thought, I'll run north and blend in. The big thing he didn't account for, the U.S. Border Patrol was coming to his new hideout, Chicago. We found him, and now he's feeling the consequences. Reminder, Chicago isn't a sanctuary for illegal alien fugitives. It very well may be the last place you visit before you get sent back home. Waters, watchful eyes, vigilance never rest. During Operation Midway Blitz, Border Patrol Marine units in Chicago apprehended an illegal alien from Honduras who had been previously removed 5 times, making his arrest his 6th time. The Green Machine will keep looking for these law violators living in the United States without any documentation. Want to live in this great country? Then do it the legal way. Wannabe Master of Disguise exposed. September 29th. Operation at Large arrested a Guatemalan national who tried to outsmart us by using multiple aliases and changing his country of citizenship. Nice try. Too bad fingerprints don't lie. After his arrest in Whittier, this illegal alien is now facing felony charges, removal proceedings, and deportation. No fake name can save him from these consequences. Tren de Aragua. Remember, right here in your burbs, Chicago. You okay with that? Nah, neither are we. Neither were we. So we did you a solid and picked him up out of a Home Depot parking lot. His greatest hits: arrested for theft of services, possession of cannabis, involved in a New York City murder investigation. Luckily, he won't have a chance to add to this greatest hits in Chicago at your expense. You are welcome. He looks just like them, too. Just like all of them do that come from there, these Tren de Aragua gang members. Look, arresting them at laundromats. When illegal aliens refuse to follow lawful orders, what do? We take action. Boom. In Niles, Illinois, agents conducting an immigration enforcement operation located and attempted to arrest this target. The subject resisted arrest and attempted to flee in his vehicle. So agents breached the driver's side window to remove him. Once confronted the consequences of his actions, the subject obeyed, was taken into custody, and will now face deportation. He was given the opportunity to comply, but instead he chose to endanger himself and others. Vehicle extractions are a last resort, but they will be used when necessary. September 25th, since Los Angeles County refused to notify ICE that this criminal illegal alien was being released from jail in 2020, Operation at Large found him in Long Beach and arrested him in 2025. What were his convictions for? Felony DUI causing bodily injury, misdemeanor driving without a license. Releasing him instead of alerting ICE means that he was given yet another opportunity to get behind a wheel and endanger people in the community. Sanctuary cities and criminal illegal aliens like him are the reason Operation at Large is underway. Arrest date 8/19/25. You see, we could just keep going and going and going. There's actually one more I want to show you. One more. September 24th, an illegal alien Iranian national, convicted sex offender since 2002. His felony convictions were for aggravated kidnapping, sentenced to 10 years. Aggravated criminal sexual abuse and force, sentenced to 7 years. With a criminal history like this, he has no business living freely in the United States. His new felony charges for 8 U.S.C. 1326, re-entry of a removed alien. Operation Midway Blitz is cleaning up Chicago, one criminal illegal alien at a time. I'm going to have to throw another one at you too, I'm sorry. False advertising alert. Instead of saying security, this illegal alien's hat should read danger. He was convicted in 2017 of 2 counts of felony lewd, lascivious acts with a child under 14 and sentenced to 10 years in prison. This was after previously being convicted of 8 other crimes, both felonies and misdemeanors. Since January of 2024, he's been arrested and convicted for 7. Yeah, you heard that right, 7 felony parole violations. With each conviction, he earned 90 to 180 days more in jail. In other words, officials in California have had the opportunity to turn him over to ICE after each of these 8 felony convictions, but have yet failed to do so every single time. And every time he was released from jail, he posed a danger to the community yet again. Now he's been arrested in Los Angeles, and his next sentence will include a one-way ticket back to Panama. Operation at Large is apprehending criminal illegal aliens to bring more security and less danger to communities across the U.S. Arrest date 9/9/25. Okay, I'll stop, because we could just keep going and going and going. I think you get the point. These are the type of people they're picking up, and they're not notifying us of every single one of them. If they did, it would be non-stop media, and nobody's going to cover that. You're going to have to go to the source themselves that's actually reporting on these people with factual information, showing you pictures and everything, because our media is not going to do that. They're not going to report this stuff. You got to go search it out from the agencies to see who they're picking up and how dangerous these people are. And they're arresting hundreds, if not thousands of them, and getting rid of them. Yet people are out here in the streets advocating for them to be left alone and stay, and they get due process. Well, I'm sorry. If you're an illegal alien here in the United States, your due process is not the same as my due process. I actually get to go through like court, be judged, all this stuff. You don't get to do that. They're going to hear what you have to say, and then they're going to lock you up, and then they're going to get rid of your ass because you're still here illegally. So your due process is not the same as mine. You are not a citizen here. It does not protect you the same way that it protects me. Plus, I heard somebody earlier say, well, if you have blonde hair and blue eyes, you're protected anyway. Don't worry about it. Well, looks like I'm protected then, and you're not. I'm not here illegally. You are. I couldn't go to your country illegally and expect to walk out of there alive in some instances, yet, or let alone have to do some kind of jail time or be deported. So I don't expect you to come here and try to do that in our neighborhoods with us in this country. Let's move on to something a little more funny. We want to hear it from the horse's mouth, right? So liberals, especially black liberals, were spreading this perpetuated propaganda campaign of this black officer that's an ICE officer that was cuffing up this 2-year-old kid with zip cuffs outside of a apartment building on 75th and South Shore. So here's the video from the officer himself, and he finds it absolutely hilarious, but also disgusting at the same time, that these people would these liberals, these Democrats, these left, far left people would take such an innocent video of him and his son playing cops and robbers and put it on the internet and turn his innocent video with him and his son playing cops and robbers into a political campaign. And he has nothing to do with ICE, by the way. Here's the video.
Meanwhile, this is what's happening to black children in our neighborhoods.
Hey, so all right, so apparently my video yet going viral again, saying that ICE is detaining kids. So they're using that picture, which is my video of me and my son playing cops and robbers. Literally, this is us. It's just crazy, like the link people will push shit in this line on the internet, and I'm just lost for fucking words. But if y'all don't know, me, myself, and my son, we live in Texas. We don't live in Chicago. Me and my son playing cops and robbers. Got a whole series on my page. I'm trying to figure out why people lying to make it political. Don't fucking know, but it's sick as hell, and y'all need to find Jesus.
Now let's also shift to other news. The whole government shutdown. The Democrats are saying it's the Republicans the reason why it's shut down. The Republicans are saying it's the Democrats the reason it's shut down. Well, the truth is, it is the Democrats. The reason it's the Democrats is because, well, the Democrats had a bunch of stuff taken out that was funding stuff like circumcisions and hysterectomies and stuff like that over in like Ethiopia. They were funding trans surgeries and stuff in some other country over there. There was a ton of stuff that was going on that we were paying for. PBS News Net or a PBS network in these foreign countries and stuff. Why are we paying for all that stuff for them? What obligation do we have to them to pay them for all of this? It makes absolutely zero sense. So all of that stuff stopped getting funded or pulled out, but everything else, the bill stayed the same, and they're trying to push all this through, and the Democrats are playing some kind of slick shit, and they're like, no, it's the Republicans. Well, let's hear from the man himself exactly why the Democrats are pissed off and shut the government down, and whose fault it really is, and why people are going to go without health care and stuff right now, and people are going to go without getting paid that work for the government. It ain't because of the Republicans, I can assure you that. They've already said we didn't want to change anything. We didn't really have a clear resolution or a clear update to what we wanted to do by like re-auditing or editing everything, that where we come together and we agree on stuff. We just wanted to keep it the same as it was and just move it on through, which is not even our policy. It comes from the previous term before Trump. We were going to keep all that and move it forward because we didn't have anything that we could really set in stone to like actually agree on and stuff. So it would have been easier to just say, you know what, let's just keep going with this, and we'll revisit this again next year to try to go over what we're going to be spending money and stuff on. But instead, the Democrats, no, you put all that money and stuff that you took out of there back in there, and then add some to it, and it's going to be like $1.6 trillion worth of extra spending that we don't have, that we don't need. All the Republicans really wanted to do was pull the funding out of Medicaid for all of the illegals that we shouldn't have to pay for anyway.
You break down what the Democrats wanted to keep in the bill in order to keep the government open.
We found that under President Biden, they were spending $3 million for circumcisions and vasectomies in Zambia. We took that out. The Congresswoman says, we're going to shut down government till you put that back in. We found $500,000 of American taxpayer money for electric buses in Rwanda. We found $3.6 million for pastry cooking classes and dance focus groups for male prostitutes in Haiti. I kid you not. I'm not making this up. It was in the budget under President Biden. We took it out. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez in the socialist wing, the loon wing of the Democratic Party, says we're going to shut down government until you put it back in. I'll just read you a few more that we took out. They are demanding we put back in. $6 million for media organizations for the Palestinians, $833,000 for transgender people in Nepal, $300,000 for a pride parade in Lesotho, $882,000 for social media mentorship in Serbia, $4.2 million. We took it out. The Congresswoman and the socialist wing of their party says we got to put that back in for the open government. $4.2 million for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex people in the Western Balkans and Uganda. I could spend the rest of the afternoon here. We took all that out. It upset Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. It upset the socialist wing of her party. And now that wing of her party and the Congresswoman are threatening all other Democrats and saying, you've got to shut that government down until we get what we want. And part of what they want is to add this kind of stuff back into the bill. And that's what this fight is all about.
What?
The tax credit, the subsidy you've heard about that expires December 31st, there's a lot of thoughtful debate and discussion that has already been going on about that and will go on about that. But that's a December 31 issue. So Chuck Schumer is scrambling. He has to have an issue. None of their policies are very popular, so they decided to lob onto health care. And he decided to claim to all of you that that is the issue with government funding. It is not. Those are two totally separate things. The clean continuing resolution would simply keep the lights on so that the members in the House and Senate can have those debates on health care. We were always planning, and we have lots of ideas on the table on how to fix it, but we don't yet have consensus on it because it's very complicated. We have time to do it. The month of October is a critically important time for us to get the House and Senate working on that very issue, but they're delaying it because they needed a red herring. So in his desperation, we get to fact number 3. In his desperation, they decided to create the red herring. They decided to claim that this is all about health care, which the September funding issue never was. That's a December policy issue. He tried to create it as a September funding issue. And in his desperation, they hastily filed an outrageous counter-proposal. It is a wild wish list of big government liberal nonsense that we can't do. Their priorities that they crammed into this. Now remember, a simple 7-week stopgap funding measure, the CR, that we passed out of the House in bipartisan fashion was sent over. And Chuck Schumer filed a counterproposal. Now this is his words, not mine. These are not Republican talking points. These are the facts. 2 exhibits real quick, as I've shown you before. This is page 57, an excerpt of his bill, section 2141, where you see that right there that they want to repeal the health subtitle of the big, beautiful bill. The one big, beautiful bill the Republicans got signed into law July 4th. The working families tax cut, we're so proud of that because it has so many amazing things for all the American people, a marquee piece of legislation. But among the most important were the reforms that we did to health care. Why? Because Medicaid, for example, is broken. Medicaid doesn't work well. It's underfunded and it was full of fraud, waste, and abuse. And we took our opportunity to fix that, and we did. So what did we do? We went into Medicaid and we said, we got to stop the waste and abuse. We got to make sure that illegal aliens are not on Medicaid. Medicaid is intended for U.S. citizens only, not illegals who break our law and come over the border. And we've got to make sure that young, able-bodied men who do not have dependents are working and not riding the wagon. Work is good for individuals. It's good for the communities they live in. It's good for their own well-being and for the people around them. And so we said, don't sit on your couch and play video games. By the way, also not a talking point. There was an AEI study, I think one of the organizations that polled this, and most of these young men who are not working are sitting around literally playing video games. Get back to work. So we put that in the law. And the big thing was making sure that an estimated 1.4 million illegal aliens are no longer riding that wagon either. Why? Because Medicaid had to be strengthened. Medicaid is intended for the elderly, the disabled, and young pregnant women, as I use an example, who are in difficult situations. They need the resources desperately, but the resources are being drained by people who were never intended to be there. And so Republicans got busy and fixed it. We put it in the big, beautiful bill. So, back to fact number 3, I guess I'm still on. Chuck Schumer files a counterproposal and says, we want to reverse all that. Well, among the effects, among the things that he would reverse is putting illegal aliens back on the program. Don't take my word for it. Look at the evidence. Over here at Exhibit B. This is the list of the actual provisions that would be reversed if Chuck Schumer's language was voted on and passed. Among those, it would end. See, these are the provisions, the Working Families Tax Cut Act. These are the provisions of our bill that did each of these things. We ended Medicaid funding for most non-citizens. They would reverse that, and it would cost American taxpayers, hardworking Americans, an estimated $6.2 billion. And you see, you just go down the list. The California loophole. You know what they did in California? Gavin Newsom and the team out in California? They expanded Medicaid to cover all able-bodied illegal alien adults. These men who could be working or whatever, I mean, they're not even citizens, never intended by Congress. They put that on the tab of the taxpayer. And so we reversed it. Chuck Schumer would repeal that. He would repeal those repairs, and this is what it would cost you. Do the math. I won't go through each line, but it's on the website, speaker.gov. You can pull this up. It amounts to $192 billion, $192.8 billion. So almost $200 billion that Chuck Schumer wants to put back in. Also, by the way, while he's repealing our health subtitle, he would also repeal the $50 billion that Republicans put into the bill to support our rural hospitals around the country. Why would Chuck Schumer do that? Because he's desperate for political cover. Let me keep going on this. By the way, these are enhanced COVID-era spending under Joe Biden for all this healthcare stuff. It was stolen, fraud, waste, and abuse, rife throughout the programs, and we fixed it, and they want to reverse that. By the way, this has always been what the Democrats wanted to do. You all remember, I know, the 2020 presidential election. We've all seen the video over the last week or so, where they asked every single candidate for the Democrat nomination on the stage running for president, is it your intention to give health care to illegal aliens who come into the country? Every single one of them raised their hands, including Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and that explains a lot of this. All right. That's the facts. And I went on all the shows. I've been on all the programs, as many as I can, to just lay this out. And on some of these programs have been followed by Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries back and forth. Not one time have they been able to refute what they themselves put in writing. I hope that you will ask them about this. I hope that you will ask them, if it is indeed not your intention, why did you say that? Why did you do that? This is a key part of what they put into their counterproposal, which, by the way, amounts to $1.5 trillion in new spending that they want to strap on to a 7-week, simple, 24-page stopgap measure to keep the lights on so we can do our work.
Well, there we have it, folks. $1.5 trillion they want to add to what was already there, and all the Republicans want to do is just move forward. All they did was just take out the nonsense stuff that doesn't need to be there and move forward and leave everything else alone. But instead, the Democrats want all that stuff added back in and then some. They want $1.5 trillion added to what we're already spending. That's why your government's shut down. Y'all take care. Choose wisely. There's more to these Democrats than you guys think. Those of you that support them. They're snakes. I mean, at the end of the day, I think all politicians are snake of some form. But liberals, they take a completely different category.